Coming up on the world's most expensive rides. An exclusive speed machine from the supercar capital of the world. An automotive masterpiece from the glory days of European car making. And race-tested precision from a German legend. Supercars to architecture, art, and food, Italian good taste is world famous. But the land of Ferrari and Lamborghini has given the world one fast car you've probably never heard of. It's one of the most expensive, high-performance automobiles in the world, with radical good looks that leave most of the competition in the dust. Meet the $694,000 Pagani Zonda F. The Pagani Zonda F is a straight-up race car for the road, built in extremely low numbers for a tiny niche of luxury car buyers.
They make about one a month, built barely 100 total since the launch in 1999, which is part of what makes it interesting.
This gleaming beauty measures 14.5 feet long and only 44 inches high. It weighs just 2,700 pounds, despite an insanely huge Mercedes engine. A 7.3-liter V12 tweaked to produce 602 horsepower. The resulting power-to-weight ratio is double that of a top-of-the-line Ford Mustang. No wonder the Zonda screams from 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. Top speed, 215 miles per hour.
When you accelerate, you feel this brute force that is pushing you against the seat due to the relatively low weight of the car. We are talking about 1.2 tons, which is extremely low when even your average car is 1.4 tons or more.
This powerful statement is the result of one man's lifelong dream. As a young man, Argentine-born Horacio Pagani moved to Modena in northern Italy, and inside a decade, he turned himself into a modern-day Enzo Ferrari, except that Mr. Pagani's life story is even more amazing.
Horacio Pagani was born in Argentina, and as a young boy fell in love with the exotic sports cars from Italy. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Maseratis. In his early 20s, he up and moved with a young bride to Modena, actually started out sweeping floors at Lamborghini, and moved his way up, a self-taught genius with materials and engineering.
For his own line of outrageous automobiles, Mr. Pagani took his inspiration from two very diverse sources. His countryman, Juan Manuel Fangio, a 5-time Formula One champion, and the Renaissance genius of design, Leonardo da Vinci. Horacio's small team developed a prototype in 1992, and after successful wind tunnel tests, formed an alliance with Mercedes-Benz to provide the formidable engine. The first Pagani creation launched in 1999. The Zonda F followed 6 years later. Horacio opened a 9,000-square-foot factory in Modena, just down the road from many of the biggest names in supercars.
Pagani comes from Modena in Italy, a small town, 20 square miles, where you have, it's essentially supercar central. You have Ferraris, Lamborghinis, just about every supercar you can think of is in this small, compact little area.
Today, Pagani employs 53 designers, craftsmen, and engineers. The carbon fiber is molded in-house. Every Zonda gets around 500 man-hours of tender love and care. Like all the best designed machines, every Zonda's form serves a serious function, right down to the titanium screws that hold the car together. The dramatic design creates 1.5 tons of downforce.
Downforce is created mainly by a completely flat underbody, so air that comes from the front goes underneath the car. It is compressed and accelerated, and it is then extracted at the rear diffuser. If you go to a racetrack, you can choose you want a high downforce setting or top speed setting. It's fully adjustable to what the customer wants.
And on the car's rear, the ceramic exhaust cluster stands out as a Pagani trademark. Inside the car, the driver rides inside a roll cage made of an industrial-strength alloy, enveloped in fine leather and polished carbon fiber detailing. The emphasis is on comfort, safety, and control.
As soon as you get in it and you drive it, you immediately feel connected to the road. You can feel what the mechanics are doing. You can feel what the tires are doing on the road. Of course, you have this 7.3-liter AMG engine behind you. You can hear it screaming.
For all its power, the Pagani's design delivers the most unforgettable impact, just as the creator intended.
You're looking at someone who had a great influence in Lamborghini, a great influence in Ferrari, and created his own boutique environment to create that artwork that's mobile.
MSRP for this masterpiece is just short of $700,000. The Pagani Zonda F, an automotive work of genius from the home of the supercar, and an experience you will never forget. The name Bugatti makes most true car connoisseurs go weak at the knees, whether it's for the superlative supercar of today or an exotic work of art from the distant past. But of all the automobiles to spring from the legendary Bugatti brand, this 1931 one-of-a-kind creation stands out as a masterpiece. The Bugatti Dubois Type 51 Coupe might just be the most beautiful car ever produced.
If a vehicle could be a rolling sculpture, a rolling work of art that belonged in a museum, then this particular Bugatti would do exactly that.
A curvy creation with a throaty roar. This high-performance machine packs an 8-cylinder supercharged engine, churning out 185 horsepower. Because of its small size and extremely light-gauge body panels, the car weighs just 1,650 pounds without the engine, about a half-ton less than most modern supercars. It's part of the Nethercutt collection near Los Angeles, run by cosmetics tycoon Jack Nethercutt, and home to hundreds of millions of dollars worth of automotive history. But this particular Type 51 is one of the Nethercutt's most valuable treasures, worth an estimated $4 million.
It's a one-off custom car that no other is like it in the world. It's on a short race car wheelbase, and it has swoopiest styling you could ever imagine in a car of this vintage.
Its beauty and performance exceed even Bugatti's renowned heritage. The company was founded in France in 1909 by the eccentric Italian genius Ettore Bugatti. This self-taught car designer and engineer came from a long line of very successful artists, but he turned his back on the family business to create extraordinary-looking cars. Bugatti attracted the cream of European society.
The Bugatti was driven by very wealthy people, playboys of the era, race car drivers of the era, anyone that wanted to show off and had the money to do so.
The Nethercutt's Type 51 actually started life as a race car with a boxy front end. But when it retired from the track, the car's new owner wanted a more up-to-date Bugatti look, matching the latest model, the Type 57. So the entire body was rebuilt by famous Parisian coachmaker Louis Debeau.
Louis Debeau was a Parisian coach builder who was commissioned to build on this Type 51 GP car chassis a road coupe in the style of the Type 57 Atlantique. So it was truly a unique car, one of a kind, the only one ever done in this way.
Even for a Bugatti, this baby's got curves.
It's a great, great swoopy car with a tail fin, skirted rear fenders, and long, flowing, beautiful fenders. It's one of the most beautiful cars in the world.
But unthinkable as it seems, this masterpiece was dismantled in the 1950s when an American collector bought the car and split the body from the chassis.
He took the chassis and sold it to Mr. Nethercutt, and he sold the body to another collector. So for many years, the two were completely separated.
A staggering 40 years later, the Nethercutt team got a lead on the location of the distinctive body and tracked it down.
And it was now owned by a gentleman from Colorado who had it mounted on a replica Type 51 Grand Prix chassis and used it on different tours. After this gentleman's death, we bought that car to get the body.
At Nethercutt's world-class restoration facility, a 15-strong team of experts went to work, but the old Bugatti parts were nowhere to be found. So as they often do, these craftsmen resorted to making their own, exact to the last detail.
Originally, this stud only had thread about up to here. This is an original stud here, and you can see how much deeper the thread is on it. So in order for the stud to fit down into the block far enough, we had to extend the thread and then round the end of the stud off like the original ones were.
The Type 51 project took 2 years and an unfathomable amount of resources and money to complete. The end result is completely authentic, fully functional, and of course, stunningly gorgeous.
My first reaction was it was such a modern look to it. That was so low to the ground compared to most cars of that era. And then it was just so stylish. It was incredible. I've never seen anything else quite like it.
But despite the Type 51's good looks, it can be pretty ugly to drive. This is still a race car after all, and must be treated with care. The startup process alone is incredibly complex, requiring 9 separate steps to prime and turn the engine.
To start up the Type 51 Bugatti is a bit of a complicated process. It uses an air pressure fuel system. So the first thing you do is turn on the hand pump, pump some air pressure into the fuel system, turn on the engine air pump, adjust ignition timing, turn on the fuel shutoff, prime the engine, and hit the button.
The resulting roar is as breathtaking as the car's visual impact. Every bit as memorable as Bugatti's modern-day, mind-blowing Veyron. The Type 51 is way ahead of its time.
Most people don't believe that that car was built in the 1930s. Most people feel that it's a modern car. It kind of looks like the Batmobile. But it is a 30s French automobile. They were way ahead of the game at that time.
The Bugatti Debeau Type 51 Coupe, a supercar long before the term was invented. Only one car packs German precision, history, and performance in a thoroughly 21st century work of art on wheels. Feast your eyes on the pure, clean design and uncompromising performance of the $450,000 Porsche Carrera GT. The Carrera GT commands the road like few other automobiles. Light, powerful, but understated, the GT spans 6 feet across and stands less than 4 feet high. The latest in ultralight construction techniques means the car tips the scales at a skinny 3,000 pounds, including a quarter-ton, 5.5-liter V10.
Well, with the Carrera GT, you have a very powerful, very high-revving V10 engine. You've got an 8,000 RPM rev level when it's producing 605 horsepower.
The GT delivers 3 times the horsepower of a Ford Mustang at 22 times the price.
A Carrera GT will run $440,000, and to put that in perspective, you can have 2 Lamborghini Gallardos for that, 3 911 turbos, or you can have 1 Carrera GT.
This impressive vehicle came to life at Porsche's $173 million factory in Leipzig, Germany. A team of craftsmen worked for 130 man-hours on each car. They created the perfect handcrafted package, tied together in a taut, one-piece carbon fiber chassis. The GT boasts a completely new kind of chassis for a road car. It's an all-carbon fiber design called monocoque, or a structural skin.
In monocoque construction, the bodywork and the frame are essentially one unit. The underlying panels that give the structure its strength and its rigidity are fused to the body panels, so you end up with a single one-piece structure that serves both the purposes of the frame and the body.
It's the first production vehicle with a monocoque chassis that is completely carbon fiber.
And so are the engine mounts, another first. The brakes and clutch plates also have completely unique features. Heat-absorbing ceramic plates made of a carbon and silicone composite, fused together at 3,000 degrees.
It's actually the first time this was ever done on a production vehicle. And a ceramic clutch is usually used in a race car because a ceramic is very good at diffusing heat. It allows the engineers to make it in a very compact, small area. And so they're able to put the engine lower in the car to create a lower center of gravity.
Such game-changing technology makes the GT challenging to handle and very expensive to maintain.
If you burn the clutch on a Carrera GT, it's a $30,000 replacement ceramic clutch.
But no price is too high for the pursuit of the ultimate in speed and control. The GT has a rear spoiler that rises up automatically to keep the car grounded on tight turns.
The exterior body design is made to keep the car very planted to the road. It has a rear diffuser that channels the air, and that keeps you very steady at high speeds.
Touches like this make this car one of the most advanced Porsche has ever made, but it still keeps some original flourishes.
In traditional Porsche style, the ignition is on the left, and they do this because they feel that it's quicker to operate the vehicle. So you jump in, you start the car with your left hand, you put it into gear with your right, and you're off and running.
The GT is so special because it was only manufactured for 2.5 years between 2003 and 2006. Only 1,270 were ever released, and a mere 600 came to the U.S. The car requires deep pockets and determination from anyone who wants to slap down $500,000 to own one.
Yeah, it's one of the rarest vehicles on Earth, and there's about 900 left in the world.
What happened to the other 300 GTs? Let's just say that the car's high performance can be unforgiving.
The performance threshold of this car is so high that a little too much throttle input, a little too much wrong steering, depending upon how much throttle you're giving, the tail is going to be coming around. You're going to be spinning off the road real quick.
The GT's weight and power means it excels in every department that matters for a discerning supercar owner.
It's very, very responsive. If you just hit the gas a little bit, you kind of feel that. I guess for $500,000, it better handle pretty good.
It's scary and really fun at the same time.
And in the hands of an expert, in controlled conditions, the car's extreme capabilities are very much part of the appeal.
lucky enough to drive quite a few. This thing revs super quickly. It revs so quickly you can do that really easily.
The Porsche Carrera is a pure speed machine, but it finds places to pack in interior luxuries too, albeit with subtle high-tech minimalism.
This is a race car that's made for the road. There's no doubt about that. But when you get inside, you look around, everything's covered in leather, and you drive the car and you feel like you're very much enclosed in the cockpit.
It's a supremely designed space that's intended to do one thing and do it well, and that is to keep the driver in control at high speed.
That is pretty basic. You don't have a lot of the driver assist aids that a lot of the modern supercars have now, and you can turn the traction control off, and that's when the car becomes extra fun.
Just like a high-performance Porsche should be, and then some. The Carrera GT. Exquisite German engineering and world-class performance from the priciest Porsche on the planet. And one of the world's most expensive rides. From the mysteries of mind-blowing extravagance to the science of record-breaking speed. Wild cars, crazy boats, killer bikes, and massive tarmac-shattering trucks. The priciest, prettiest, and most insanely advanced vehicles on the planet. That's just the way we roll on the world's most expensive rides.